Alright. How y'all doing? Excuse me.
What's
How y'all
happening?
doing? How y'all doing? YouTube, what's going on? My name is Dretronix, and this is our first live webcast on YouTube. There's gonna be more. So once again, I'm Dretronix. This is
I'm Chills.
Chills over here at Southside Book. This is my son.
Good,
He's an artist, and we're all about hip hop. So today we're gonna conversate on the state of hip hop from a younger person's point of view.
But first, hit that subscribe and like button.
Yes. Do that. It's important. We're gonna get Southside Boog over here. He's the youngest in here. His opinion. So he brought up a question earlier before we started filming, and we want to bring that question back if you can.
Pretty much, man. Is hip hop over? Only reason I ask that is just like, I grew up on boom bap. Maybe not the boom bap from the 80s, but I grew up on boom bap. So I don't hear that no more, and that's what I look for. I get frustrated hearing it, but I can't really help it. That's what's out now. And I don't disagree with everything that's out. So I just think that music is going to a different place. Hip hop's been around for 30, almost 40 years now. So I don't know how much longer it can have the run that it's had without something else maybe coming into play. I don't really know what that will be. But that's my question.
There's going to be a changing.
Really done?
There's going to be a changing of the guard. We don't know when the changing of the guard is going to come, but there's going to be a changing of the guard. Like we was talking earlier, there was the Sugar Hill, the Grandmaster Cast, the Kumo D and them, and then you got Run Them. Run Them was the next changing of the guard. You see what I'm saying? Then when that guard changed, it was off the West Coast when the guard changed again, because then you got gangster rap that changed the whole thing.
But see, that's what I'm into though, man.
You see?
I love
You
that
like
gangster rap,
So
man.
now you got to remember, we're at a crossroads in hip hop. It's going more mainstream. It's going more pop. It's doing more things, and it's not just a one multi-dimension culture of just black people and Puerto Rican.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's right. I said that because our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters was at the beginning of this whole thing when it started out.
Shout out to all the poppies and moms.
It wasn't just black thing. It wasn't nothing like that. It was the breakers, the graffiti artists, the DJs, the rappers. Matter of fact, wasn't one of the first Puerto Rican rappers in the Disco 4? Was it them?
I'm not sure.
Whip a Whip or Ruby D? One of the two. They were that was that was their thing.
Who was the B-boy? What's his name? Crazy Legs, I think. He was
one of the best breakers in the city.
Yeah.
We can't say where they at
Crazy
because
moves.
we don't know. We seen it from a different aspect because we weren't part of New York City. We're part of New York State.
Yeah. We're upstate.
We're upstate New York. So what we seen is like when people go to the city, or we went to the city and seen things, or what we got on concerts, or what we seen on TV and stuff like that. That's how we grew about seeing a lot of the stuff that we did. And the guard is gonna change again. We don't know when it's gonna change or how it's gonna change, but it's gonna change again. And people do still want to hear lyrical MCs. They still want to hear the boom bap. It may be even underground, because underground is popping harder than people think it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I had a few artists I've been listening to for a while underground, but I mean, it's just not at the forefront to me like it used to be, though.
The purpose of having this broadcast is to speak our minds. I'm quite sure between the three of us, you're gonna have some people that agree with what one person might say and some won't. But I think that what happened was there was politics behind the music scene. Once hip hop became so powerful, more than bigger than life, pretty much. All this money is involved, and here come politics. You know, there's always the big guys. They want to rule. They want to control. They're the ones that say, hey, you know what? The music is gonna be like this, or it's gonna be like that. Now, when it first started, they didn't know about it. All they knew was it was making money. So pretty much anybody who got into rap and wanted to make a record, you know, they would sign you because they didn't know. They just want a piece of the pie. But as time went on, now we're gonna say early '80s when it took off, right? Like what you were saying, right around Runtime, how they came in and changed the game from Sugar Hill and you know Grandmaster Flash, all of that. When Running Them time came in, I want to say they helped to establish them in groups like Public Enemy,
Legends.
You know, Stetson Sonic. It was a bunch of people, but they helped elevate hip hop to the point where not only Grandmaster Flash set it off with the message. Not only is the beat dope, the beat got to be mad dope, but the message, what you saying?
Yeah, but
So,
they was talking about. But they was talking about. They was talking about the politics that were going on in the city. Now you got to remember, okay, we going super rapping, we going Spoonie G, we going Treacherous 3. You know what I'm saying? These were lyrical people. They were very lyrical people. Grandmaster Flash, all of them were lyrical. All of them can throw down, and say hot raps. Not what you just heard on the record, but it was always a thing, a competition. Rapping was like a competition too. You know what I'm saying?
You always had to stay on
It's not like when they say, well, we're gonna go into a cipher and rap now. I look at rap when they do ciphers, I call it Def Poetry Slam because you're not rapping. You're telling stories. You're like, my man is this. Come on now. A rap battle is when two MCs go at each other's throat and really spitting lines. We're not talking like, I thought that you were and stuff like that. That's not really battle rapping to me. Battle rapping is when you heard Kumo D go at Busy B. You heard Tupac go at Biggie.
See,
you know,
but for me,
that's up to them.
That was Jay-Z and Nas and Beans and Jadakiss.
Okay.
People like that.
You heard No Vaseline from Q.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got NWA. They doing their thing, coming back at Q. That's what I call battle rapping. When you coming out there and it don't sound like a slow story. Your DJ get down and do what he got to do and the rappers do what they got to do and y'all battling each other. The crowd will pick who's the winner. You know what I'm saying? Not some storytelling that you wrote, and you can't use these stories that you're rapping like that. If you ain't got a flow, you just telling a story it's like telling a story out of a book. That's why I call it deaf poetry.
So with some of these rappers, like some of the new rappers, do you think that that some of their stories, like what they're rapping about, might be their stories? Because me personally, I think depending on the region, what they talk about is their story. I just can't relate because I'm not from there, if that makes sense.
It's their story, I would say. But you also got to remember, when this East Coast, West Coast thing went on, all right, what our news was telling us was only what they were telling around here. We didn't know about Bloods and Crips. We didn't know that they were getting their butts whooped and stuff like that by the cops until we seen Rodney King. NWA was trying to tell us that, but we was thinking it was just rap. You know what I'm saying?
So
and then when it came out to public, then we started seeing what it really was. Okay, Ice-T. When he was doing his raps and breaking, I was listening to him. I was like, who is this fool? Not knowing that this man had lyrics. He had real lyrics. He had hot stuff over in the West Coast, but we wasn't playing it over here in the East Coast. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think, you know what, now this is just my opinion, but from what it seems like, is that because rap started in New York, it was an East Coast thing. The voices, the talk, the style, everything, the hit records that inspired people from Cali or the South to want to rap was so it took over. And then when people from New York, and there were people that weren't from New York who would hear a record from California artist or a Southern artist, be like, man, what's this? Because it was so different than the New York sound. You know what I mean? But these are people who, you know, and I'm guilty of it. Back then, I used to say, hey, some of this was whack, but some of it wasn't. Mm-hmm. I just want to say this, yo. I remember when 2 Live Crew came out. I was feeling that. I bought that album. Throw the D, all of that. I was on that. When that came, and not only that, the stint I lived in Georgia, Washington, Georgia, from '82 to '85, and I was just watching on I think it's Red Bull Music Academy or something like that. But they would talk about Uncle Jam's Army. I remember it, the Egyptian Lover, Uncle Jam's Army. I remember Pretty Tony used to produce groups like Freestyle Express, Debbie Deb. This was from Florida. They had a little label called Music Specialist Records. And when I was in Georgia, right around the time that Running Them came out, we talk about 82 to 85. That music was prominent then, and I bought those records. And when you played them, people be on the floor. Now, a lot of their style was based upon like a Planet Rock kind of sound, because Planet Rock was so huge. Yeah, you know, back then, and so everybody was trying to make this Planet Rock sound. It was a lot of 808. Yeah, it was influential, but I was feeling it because I seen the movement start. So when I did hear 2 Live Crew, I thought they were dope. Even when I started hearing some people from LA, like Dre and them first stuff, from what I heard, I didn't hear like the dope man. I didn't hear all that. I heard the first one I heard was Eazy-E, and then I heard Straight Outta Compton.
They had a compilation album
that stuff
with
was
all of them.
That stuff was fire.
They had a compilation album.
Played out to this day.
They had a compilation album with all the cats from the West Coast, with Easy, Egyptian Lover, all of them was on there. They were all on the cover.
With all of them on
it. Yeah, they was like, and they got 8 Ball in the front of them and stuff. Yeah, that was them. But what I experienced from the South was when my mother would send me down for summer vacation and stuff to keep me out of the streets here in New York. Their music was totally different. Now, when I got older and I went back, my homeboy Jeff, we riding in the car. He loving our music, but he said, you know, I love your music. He threw in a Luke tape. I had never heard Luke by itself. We riding down the highway. I'm jamming the Luke. Get it, pop. I'm like, whoa. He said, and his people was from Rochester. He said that he went to Rochester. He threw in a Luke tape. Everybody was looking at him like he was crazy. It's the different regions where you come from. And the music is different. Like I said, I hear a lot. When I was down in Florida growing up, I heard a lot of music that didn't even make it here. You know what I'm saying? And we would go to parties down the railroad tracks in these shacks and stuff, and it'd be parties packed and everything. They'd be having a ball in there. It wasn't no fighting and stuff, but you was hearing different music. And it was like, wow, when I get back home, I don't hear this. Now, I'm going to give you an example of something. Salt-N-Pepa Push It. I was in Florida when Push It came out. Push It started down there and made its way back here before they broke it here.
And you know what? Now I'm thinking about that. Was Push It supposed to be like a gimmick off the Uncle Luke style?
I don't know. I think Salt-N-Pepa did that.
Because it kind of got that sound, that feel. You can see
it got a lot of sense.
Push It with Uncle Luke video.
Uncle Luke, but you gotta remember, Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke take it to the
But you know what? Maybe I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe it was done to have a party record for when they did go in those regions, because that kind of music was popular in the South, Florida, Georgia, all of
Luke
and even on the West Coast.
Luke had that locked up.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Uncle Luke had that locked up. No matter how you put it, he had it locked up. And you got to remember, at this time, then the Goody Mob came out. I had never heard the Goody Mob up here until I went to Florida, and I'm listening to Black Ice and all that stuff, and I'm like, yo, these cats deep. These cats are real deep. And I'm listening to them. I'm listening to Who that? Yeah. Who that? I'm listening to these cats and I'm like, yo, these cats is hot.
Yo, now you talk about Atlanta. Now I remember, it's got to be '87. Me and my cousin, MC Shy D. He's from Atlanta.
I remember Shy D.
He was on Luke's record label, but he had this song called "In Atlanta," and they were sampling "All of This Love" by DeBarge, and we just thought that was like that. It was too dope, man. But once again, Southern artists. So, you know what?
See, for me, like I don't mean to cut you off, but I be hearing like. When I hear the Southern artists now and the Southern hip hop trap music, however they want to call it, it's all hip hop to me. It's just I feel like hip hop done got to a place where it can be separated. You can have different subgenres within one genre. Rock did it. You get what I'm saying? Pop is done it in different. Pop is trying to incorporate it into hip hop now. If you want to get technical, I hear a lot of pop songs sound like somebody could rap to it easily, but a lot of the songs that I hear, like a lot of the artists I hear that come from the South now, they got that soul in their music. You just hear it. That's probably why it's not just lyrics all the time, if you get what I'm saying. That's probably, I believe personally that's where the melody come from. The history is a little deeper, what they went through. We kind of are the ones that got away, if you get what I'm saying.
You got to also remember,
so it's a little deeper for them maybe. And it might come out different.
Down in the South, like, we can catch a bus real quick. Or we can do things a little different. You know what I'm saying? We got more convenience. Down there, their struggle is much harder than our struggle. Because if you ain't got no car, you can't get around in some places in the South.
Right.
Unless you walking.
Right.
They ain't got corner stores everywhere unless you in a big metropolitan area in the South.
That's built down.
You know what I'm saying? You got to find ways to do things. And I hate to say it, them cats hustle harder than we do.
They do.
They hustle harder than we do. And
they come together quicker than we do too.
They're more supportive.
They're more supportive than we are. And if you ever notice, back then we buy BMWs and all that stuff. Them cats didn't want no BMWs. They wanted Chevys. Chevys, you can take a part off one Chevy and put it on another Chevy. They'll spend $30,000-$40,000 to make their cars look great.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And still got money stashed somewhere. Where we'll go buy a foreign car, knowing that when you go get a tune-up for this foreign car, it's going to cost you about $2,000.
As soon as something go wrong, it's over.
My homegirl says she got a Mercedes-Benz truck. She gets an oil change with one. Then there's another part for the oil change that costs her almost $600.
Wow.
Can't nobody do that. That's just like Range Rover.
For a part for an oil change?
Like Range Rover. Range Rover, we don't have a Range Rover place here. You have to go all the way to Rochester to get your car fixed.
Right.
Can't nobody fix it. You let somebody mess with your foreign car that say foreign cars on top of their thing and see what happened. You be riding like the Flintstones.
You don't want that. But okay, so now we talking about hip hop, Southern hip hop, and just hip hop in general.
Yeah.
And how it is today. One thing, we talk about some good sides, but one bad side, and I might have people disagree, but I'm gonna say it, that I feel about hip hop today is that it's not changing. Give you an example of what I'm saying. I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you're from. If you're gonna be involved in hip hop and you understand what that's about, and you want to be a so-called rapper, fine. But it's cutting edge. It's fresh. That word should have never left the mouth of anyone who wants to get involved with hip hop. Fresh, new, exciting. You know what I'm saying? That's what made it what it is. So I said that to say this. Stuff is being stagnated. Hip hop's supposed to change every 3 years. Every 3, at least every 4 years. Something is supposed to change almost dramatically about hip hop. So I say that to say we go from 80, let's start from 84. Beginning, blowing up 84. Now let's go to 88. Between that 4 year period, sampling was introduced. The whole style of rap changed from what Run DMC was doing in '84 to '88. You had groups like EPMD, Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy. Wasn't nothing like that 4 years before that. Now, let's go from 88 to 92. Here you got De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, groups coming out like that. Naughty by Nature. Okay?
Now, wait a minute. You can't forget the Jungle Brothers, because without the Jungle Brothers, we wouldn't have house music. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah,
without the Jungle Brothers, it wouldn't be no house music.
So, I'm just saying, you know, rap changed. You know, early, you had the Big came out.
Yeah.
Even in 2000, what Jay-Z and them was doing early 2000 wasn't the rap that was still different from what was done in 96.
Yeah.
Okay, the Puffy years.
Yeah.
You know,
the shiny suits.
Right. So it did change by 2004. Now we got Southern rap coming in. The Outkast doing their thing. Big ups to Trey 3000 and Big Boy. They did their thing. They kicked the door. Lil Jon, Ludacris, all y'all. Big ups to y'all.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. I'm about to break this down for you.
Yep.
Okay. People forget, and they didn't pay attention. Trick Daddy put rap on his back and held rap up for a couple of years because at one point we wasn't getting nothing that was substantial out of music.
Listen, I just pulled his track up the other day, him and CeeLo. In the Wind. So now, first thing first, Trick.
www. Book of
Trick
Thugs.
Trick dope.
At that time, Trick held rap up.
Get props.
Yo, Trick held rap up at that time. Nobody was doing nothing, putting nothing out. Trick came out, even though he was already established in Florida. When he went worldwide, wasn't nobody out. He held rap up on his back. Because Big Boy and them wasn't putting out, Outkast and them hadn't put out nothing. Goody Mob and them hadn't put out nothing. Nothing was coming out of the city that was worth anything. So I'm listening to the Trick, and I'm like, yo, this cat holding rap up right now. He got this whole thing on his back. Because ain't nobody putting nothing out. Because you got to remember, at one point, rap had faded off for a minute. Back in the days. Wait a minute now. Back in the days when we was growing up, rap had faded off for a minute. We was getting watered down rap like a watered down drink in a bar. You could taste the water. You can hear the music and say that, yo, you go to a club and it wasn't like what we was seeing before.
I just know we got certain legends like the Ghetto Boys. We can't forget about 3 6 Mafia.
Oh man,
come on, man.
There's too many. I mean,
it's so many to mention.
They made a way.
Ghetto Boys.
They made a sound. I don't know about the rest of the state.
I think it was their third album.
They rocked with a lot of different sounds from across the country.
Oh man,
different regions.
Do it like a Geo. You gotta let a whole be that album right there. Oh my, Deaf America. Listen. You know, once again,
can't forget no Limit.
So what we're gonna do is this: we're gonna wrap it up because we've been talking, and you know, we hope y'all learn something from us. You know, it's our opinion, but some of it is facts. All right, y'all check this stuff out. Go check it out.
Yo, hit that subscribe button and likes, and we hope to see you again.
Check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
All right.
Y'all be safe.
Facebook, Dretronix, and Twitter, Dretronix. And we're going to holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
One.